All right. Hey. This is Andy coming to you live from andy@trigger.com, and thank you so much for watching this video. In this video, I want to be sharing with you 4 steps to overcome any objections at all that you might come through or you might come across in your home business, in network marketing, whatever you're doing. Even if you are an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're presenting to people and asking for business right now. What we all hate the most is you've done your presentations, you're excited, you know that this is going to end up in a sale, and then at the end the customer pops up a question that leaves you sweating, right? Or they come up with some objection, something you were actually not expecting at all, and then that throws you off balance, and then in the end you lose the sale because you are nervous, you're sweaty, and you don't know what to say, and you give up on that sale. And in fact, most people don't even go back to even follow up because they feel like they've been beaten, they've been defeated, and that's not the case, right? So in this video, I want to share with you 4 steps. Now, these 4 steps you can use to overcome any objection. You don't have to memorize any lines, what you have to say, nothing about that at all. All you have to do is to follow this simple 4-step process, right? And that would allow you to overcome any objections at all and close the sale the way you want to close it. So let's get started. Like I said, my name is Andy, coming to you live from andy@trigger.com. Feel free to check out my blog for more information on how to sell using the internet and how to leverage more sales. You can also subscribe to this channel right here, and then you would get notified anytime we come out with some good juice, right? So let's go. Now, first things first, I'm going to cover what objections are not before I discuss with you what objections are, right? Now, I want you to get this clear. Objections are not negative, right? And the first time I heard this, I was like, what? But they're saying all the negative things, right? Objections, most of the times, 80 to 90% of the times, they are not negative at all, right? Objections are also not a signal for you to debate your point. They are not a signal to argue or to be defensive. I used to get a lot defensive when customers came up with some objection or something other than the other. You don't want that. It's not also about you. Mostly 80-90% of the time, actually 99% of the time, most of the objections are not about you, right? When they raise an objection, people will buy because they know, like, and trust you because of you. But objections are not really pretty much about you, and you are going to find out why. And so objections are also not a definite no to say, oh, okay, we're not buying your product or we don't want to do business with you. That's not what it means. Objections are clearly, and I'm going to explain that with you in a second. And there may not be a yes either, right? They're just on the fence. So you have to understand, when your clients or your prospects or people come up with objections, you don't have to feel like, oh, they don't want to buy my product or they don't want to do business with me. It's just that they're on the fence and they need more clarification. That's all it is. Now, what are objections? Objections are simply concerns. You want to take out the word objections. The word objections itself is negative, and you don't want to use that word in your vocabulary. Just replace it with concerns, right? Clients or customers, prospects may have concerns, and those concerns needs to be addressed. So if they have concerns, then you do understand that their concerns is about them. If I have a concern, it's mainly about me, right? I'm concerned about something and I need it addressed. That's the way you have to see it. Don't see it as a negative thing. It's just a concern. There could be questions about your product or service, right? If they ask you any question or they said something that you found like, oh, this is so ridiculous, I just covered that, right? Or I'm not expecting them to say something like that. Just think about it this way. They want to know a little bit more about the product or the service, or they're a little bit unclear about something. It's also a signal to say they are thinking about partnering with you, or they're thinking about buying from you. So you have to see it this way. If they have concerns, then they're actually thinking along the lines of, hey, you know what? I might be able to find potential in here. I just need a bit more clarification. It's also questions about their affordability. Sometimes they raise objections, especially the money objection, or they may give you some silly excuse, and then they're just testing the waters. Sometimes they're thinking in their head, can I afford it? Can I buy this? Is it enough value for me? And it's your job as the person presenting or the person showing them the product or service to let them know that yes, it is worth the value money they're paying for, right? It's worth the value. So these are mainly what objections are. So I want you to scrap the negativity out of your head, right? There are concerns about your product or service as well. So let's talk about the objection handling cycle. Now this cycle, if you use this cycle, you would, overturn any objection that's thrown at you. In fact, it needs some practice, but when you use it over and over again, you get used to it and it starts working for you. Now, this is the 4-step process. You listen, you acknowledge, you respond, and then you confirm with them. And I'm going to go through that in a second. And then if they raise another objection, you do the same thing over again, and you go through a cycle over and over and over again. Okay, so let's get started. Step number one is to listen. Now, listening is a skill you must develop. It's not just hearing things in your ear, right? When you listen, you learn to listen by watching out for what the customer is not telling you. What is the prospect not saying that they're saying? If you get what I'm trying to say, right? Sometimes they're not telling you verbally, but they are actually telling you something else with their body language. So you have to watch out for things like body language, tone of voice, facial expressions, their movements, their pacing. You have to watch all of that, right? If you're on the phone, you listen, especially to their tone of voice. You listen to movements in the background. You listen to all of that. It just comes to you as second nature the more you do it. Don't be in a hurry to speak. Just allow your prospect to keep talking about their concern. Right? You don't want to interrupt their thoughts, because when you interrupt their thoughts, two things happen. Number one, they lose their trend of thought. Especially for me, if I'm trying to say something and you keep interrupting, I lose my trend of thought. Number two, they feel disrespected. You have to allow them to talk. Don't jump into their train of thought, or when they're saying something, don't be in a hurry to speak, because when you do that, although you think you're doing them a good service, they are finding it offensive. So don't be in a hurry to speak. Ask questions if you are not clear. If they say something you don't understand, just ask them, hey, Mr. Prospect, you said this and that and that. Can you just tell me a little bit about what you mean or why you said that, right? You need to ask questions if you are not clear about what they're saying. Use why, what, when, how to form questions, right, for them. In fact, if they say something, you can say, oh, why did you say that? I heard you say that. Why did you say that? How did that happen? When did this happen? What did you do about it? You need to ask questions like that. Now, when you ask questions with this, why, what, when, and how, you start getting a clearer picture of what they're trying to say, because it gets them to talk more about the situation, and then you uncover the hidden problem. Number two is to acknowledge, right? When you acknowledge people, you make them feel important. Now, think about it yourself. Whenever you've talked to someone and you said something to them and you feel like they paid attention and you feel like they understood what you said, this is what happens. You start feeling important. There's a sense of importance there, even if what you were saying was not so important, right? And to do this, sometimes you need to repeat. You need to repeat what the prospect mentions to you. They said something, you just repeat it. You don't have to repeat it verbatim. All you have to do is what? Repeat it. You can paraphrase it and say it back to them. Now, this instantly builds connection because they know you're listening and they trust you, because they know this guy has my interest at heart. I can feel relaxed now. That's what you need to be doing, right? Don't just say yes, understand and repeat it to them, right? If they say something, don't just nod your head and say yes. Repeat it back. Repeat things they say, okay? Now, lean in and nod your head in agreement. If you are face to face, it's a good idea to lean in like you're interested in that person. You really want to know. Think about it when you went to a dinner with that girl and you wanted to know what they were talking about. You leaned in, you were interested. That's what you want to be doing with your prospect. Now, while you're doing that, this is what you're doing. You're formulating a solution in your mind regarding to your product. So if they're saying money objections, already you're thinking, what different kinds of packages can I put together for this person? Or how can I justify the value, the benefit for the value for them to pay that amount of money for whatever they're going to get? You need to start thinking along those lines. So while they're actually explaining things to you, you're asking questions, you're formulating your solution. Now, when you've done that, you respond to them. Okay? You craft a solution while you're listening. You come up with the right solution. It's very important to earn their trust that you come up with the right solution. Don't think because you want to make a big bucks, you try and sell some ridiculous price just so you can make enough profit. Stop thinking about your pocket. Sometimes you have to forget about your pocket and think about the person sitting in front of you. Can they afford it? Is it good for them? Is it going to work for them? Sometimes I have to disqualify people because in my heart of hearts, I know I could sell you this. I know I could use certain lines to get you to buy it. But when you buy it, are you going to benefit from it? Maybe it's not going to benefit them at all. You need to start thinking along those lines. The sale is not just that incident. The sale is more incidents to come. So you have to understand that you're investing in the future, right? So craft the right solution for them. It's important to earn their trust. Now, present your solution using the few, failed, found factor. Now, a lot of people use this to overturn objectives, and the first thing they say is, oh, I know how you feel, right? I remember I felt the same way, but I found that it worked for me when I tried it. A lot of people use it that way. The way I prefer to use it is I prefer to put it in a story. So when I'm going to respond and I've got a solution in my head, like pricing, for example, I use a story from one of my customers. I say, oh, Mr. Prospect, you know what? I totally get you. I get what you're feeling right now because I dealt with a prospect before, about last week or 2 weeks or a month ago, and his name was Ben, and Ben had a similar issue. I crafted a solution for him, and after I did that, he felt very comfortable. He felt he could try the product. He tried the product, he started using it, and he found that he got his investment back, or he got his money back in the first few months. And since then, he's been referring people to me. You can put that in a story. Try and make it engaging and exciting for them. Tell them a story and put it in the few, failed, found. If you have a story yourself, use yourself as the example. Now, confirm. Step number 4, this is the last step, is to confirm. Now, after you've done that and you've responded, you must have given them some solutions. For example, for Ben, what I did for Ben is that I crafted a solution for Ben. I gave him option A and option B. And based on what you're telling me, it looks very similar. So this is option A, this is option B. This is what it can do for you, and this is how it will benefit you. Which one do you think will work for you best? They get to choose a solution. If they choose a solution, then you confirm that solution back to them. You don't just say, oh wow, you like solution A or you like package A. Awesome, let's sign you up, right? Confirm. Because when you do that, again, they start thinking you're thinking about them, which is a good thing. So it's okay, so I see you went for solution B or you went for solution A. And if you personally feel that solution B is better, just open up and tell him, listen, you know what, Mr. Prospect, based on what you told me, I believe solution B will be a better option for you. But you're free to choose solution A, whichever one works for you, and leave them to confirm that. When they've confirmed, then you ask to proceed. After they said, you know what, let's stick to solution A. Then you can go, great, thank you very much. Now, are we okay to move to the next step? I'm just going to bring up my paperwork and then we go ahead and we fill up the paperwork and I will guide you on what to do next. You need to ask them to proceed. Then you close the sale, right? So this is all you need to do when it comes to overcoming objections. Now, if you use these 4 steps, you can overcome any objections at all anybody throws at you, right? Now, in the link below, there is a link in the description below. There's a link if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, it's above. Click the link below. It will take you to another page where you can get this in a PDF format, and it comes with 6 different types of objections and how to handle them, right? It will also show you a video you can watch in order to do this. So click there, give me your best email where you want me to send it to, and then we'll send it to you as soon as we get your email address. So thank you so much. This is Andy coming to you live from andyachuga.com. Please feel free to visit my blog, check out my post, and also subscribe to this channel or subscribe to my Facebook feed, and I will be in touch with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Let's make a difference. Ciao.